the most remote archaeological site in Peru, has just been discovered by modern man, and what is crazy is that it is hiding a secret so big that it could change our entire understanding of the Inca Empire forever. The place is called Gran, or the Great Cloud Palace. They saw that it looked like someone had cut down the trees in the shape of an enormous puma. The drone flew through a break in the clouds and captured the first ever footage of the site. What they saw was so extraordinary that it even shocked them, because the lost city isn't just one thing, it's actually three things all in one. Archaeologists realized that the Inca people had built a road to the summit 500 years ago, so all those tourists headed back down the mountain and followed the ancient road to the top. This made the journey much easier and allowed more people to see the ruins. This caught their attention because the Inca people were known to have revered puma as a sacred animal, but they had never found anything like this before. You see, they had done some research and believed that there might be another entrance to the site. On one side was a circular courtyard, an array of trapezoid-shaped buildings, and a small ceremonial altar. The Inca people believed that the world was made by a deity who emerged from a mountain peak. There were hundreds of other artificial mountains hidden throughout the empire. These mountains were actually made of stone and were carefully designed to look like real mountains. But why? Well, the answer lies within the ruins of the pyramid itself. They also believed that many gods lived inside mountains and would often build shrines and temples inside caves and crevices. So it makes sense that they built an artificial mountain to honor their gods. It is almost as if someone took the Inca people's religion and spread it out across the face of the earth. But that's just a theory. A crazy theory. Then across the road was a building with 60 rooms. This was definitely part of the complex. And don't forget to stay tuned for more videos about ancient civilizations. Thanks for watching. But the archaeologists had no idea how big it really was. The two artificial mountains aren't the only ones that the Inca people built. They actually built hundreds of them all across South America. And all of them were destroyed except for one. The last surviving artificial mountain is located in southern Peru, and it is the only place on Earth where you can still see all of the Inca people's sacred sites intact. But when they examined the stones, they found that each one of them had been imported from somewhere else. The Spanish were on their way, and they were ungoing to waste any time destroying the Inca Empire. But here's the craziest part. This was a huge undertaking that required a lot of labor, time, and resources, so it's unlikely that they would have continued building it after it collapsed. There were hints of buildings underneath the jungle foliage near the base of the mountain, so they started clearing away the vines and leaves. What they found was incredible, because it turned out to be another paved road. This mountain was actually the center of the Inca Empire's sacred landscape. It was located at the center of a 120-mile grid of sacred sites, and was considered to be the axis mundi. This was the place where the Inca people believed the world began, and it was also the place where the Spaniards came in and destroyed everything. It is a massive lost city hidden high up in the Peruvian Andes that was finally found after being lost for more than 500 years. Archaeologists are still exploring this site, but we already know that it has changed our understanding of the Inca Empire forever. But once they started hacking away at the vegetation, the true size of the complex slowly revealed itself. They had to clear away more than 10,000 cubic meters of material, but eventually they uncovered buildings, plazas, and roads, and it was unlike anything they had seen before. What's up? Welcome to my channel. One section had buildings and rooms. Another was used for growing crops. One section was full of fountains and canals, and another was used for religious ceremonies. The pyramid was 200 feet tall, which would have made it 60 feet taller than the Egyptian pyramids of Giza. Unfortunately, it's not as big as it seems. Archaeologists believe that the pyramid wasn't actually meant to be a tomb or a temple, but instead it was an artificial mountain. But what was the most shocking was the last section. This discovery was made 2,743 meters above sea level in the clouds of northern Peru, halfway between Lima and Ecuador. It was first spotted by satellite imagery from NASA back in 2017. However, nobody really paid any attention to it until archaeologists noticed something bizarre. Archaeologists decided to send a drone into the area, and what they found was absolutely unbelievable. Many of them were guides from nearby towns who had never even heard of it. But soon it became clear that getting to the top of the mountain was going to be difficult. A four-wheel drive vehicle can only get you so far. After that, you have to hike through thick jungle terrain and climb steep, slippery rocks. Only the most adventurous tourists were willing to go all the way up. There's a large flat area on the mountainside that's marked with hundreds of geometric shapes. Then there's a series of terraces that lead up the mountain like stairs, and at the very top sits the ruins of a massive fortress. And if that wasn't enough, further investigation revealed that the whole site is over 800 years old. That would make it contemporary to famous sites like Machu Picchu. But until recently, no one even knew it existed. As soon as the news broke, thousands of tourists began heading to the site. But then something happened that made getting to the top much easier. But while most tourists were heading up the mountain, a group of archaeologists was heading down. This road led them to an area full of mysterious stone structures that nobody had ever seen before. The main road divided these structures into two sections. That's because the jungle had swallowed it whole. All they could see were the roofs of the buildings poking out of the trees. The first thing they uncovered was a large plaza with 5 different sections. Each section was dedicated to something different. That's because it contained the foundations of a gigantic pyramid. Inca culture, mountains were considered to be sacred. They symbolized the connection between earth and sky, and were often used in religious ceremonies. But it gets even crazier because the pyramid wasn't the only fake mountain that they built. Archaeologists discovered that it had collapsed during an earthquake and had been abandoned ever since. If they had rebuilt the mountain, the Inca people would have had to do it quickly. In 1994, archaeologists discovered another artificial mountain just a few miles away. But here's what's crazy. Some people say it's too big of a coincidence to be anything other than a religious site. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.